Hello. I hope that you're all doing well. I hope that you're all staying safe. I hope that wherever you find yourself as you watch this video, that you're doing okay and that you're doing all right. Just want to say that we love you and we miss you and we care for each and every person. You are a creation of God and you're wonderful and you are valued beyond all measure. So let's just start off the video by saying that. Hopefully positive for some of you building up. I just want to talk about a topic today which can affect anybody at any time. But I think it is something that is affecting many of us right now due to the current situation of how we find ourselves and what's going on in the world around us. And that topic is loneliness. And loneliness, it doesn't matter what background you have, whether you've been brought up rich, poor, medium wealth, whether you've been had loads of friends, whether you've been bullied, whether you are busy all the time or you're not busy all the time. Loneliness can affect anybody at any time, but I think it's especially affecting many of us right now because obviously we're being forced to not interact with one another as much as we should or as much as we would like to because of the current situation. And we are designed as beings to connect with one another. We are designed to be with each other. We are designed to be social. For some of us, that might look slightly different. For me, for example, I'm a massive introvert, which means I like time to myself and I don't like having loads and loads and loads of people around me. So I like having quality relationships with a few friends. Whereas other people, we like having loads of relationships with loads of friends. And either way, that's fine, that's acceptable. But right now it might feel like a struggle to connect to people because we can't see them face to face, and for whatever reason we might not be able to contact people. And even then, even when we are in contact with people, one of my favourite TV shows growing up was Scrubs, and they had a really fantastic bit about loneliness because there's a shot of the main character called JD as he's walking through the hospital and it fades to black and white and he's talking about relationships and feeling alone. And one of his things is sometimes the loneliest people are those that have loads of people around them. It doesn't matter how many people are around you, you can still feel so alone. Because what loneliness is where we're not getting the connection that we require, the social connection that we require from friends, family, whoever. And it sucks, you know, I've gone through periods of loneliness. It really, really, really sucks. And it can bring a whole host of emotions. And when I'm doing work with people that are struggling with anger, what I like to use is the iceberg picture, where you just see the tip of the iceberg and then there's the water and then most of the iceberg is underneath. And anger and other emotions can sometimes be a bit like that, where we see that main emotion at the top, but there's a whole lot going on underneath. And I think loneliness can be a bit like that, where loneliness is at the top of the iceberg and there's a whole host of things going on underneath. And some of the things loneliness can lead to, or some of those emotions that it can bring up, we can feel depressed, we can have a low mood, we can feel really, really down. It can bring up anxiety because actually we feel anxious about the world, we feel anxious about what's going on around us, and we feel anxious because nobody wants to connect with us or contact with us. And it can bring up questions of self-worth and value. I know that for me, when I felt lonely, or when I have felt lonely in the past, that's what is brought up in me. You know, does anybody love me? If I was put in this situation, or if I was to be taken out of this situation, would I actually be missed at all? And those are things that actually I questioned quite a lot, and sometimes still do question, you know. And those are the kind of things we worry about, our self-worth and value, because we're not getting connection with people, and connection with people is important. So today I just wanted to talk a few things which I have found have helped me through my journey, through me feeling lonely sometimes, and hopefully they'll help you. And if they don't help you, I'm sorry, but and that's fine. I'm sorry first of all because I haven't been able to help you. It's also fine. You know, there's loads of other ways that you can find help. One thing that works for one person might not necessarily work for another, because we're all built differently and uniquely. And I think I said at the start, and if I didn't say it at the start, the connection is a big thing. You know, right at the bat, right off the bat, God said when He created us it is not good for man to be alone, so I'm going to make somebody to be with us. And so the first thing that I want to start off with what helped me is God. And I know that's big, and it seems a bit obvious for this channel and for me to say that, but God is the one thing that has, and the one constant that has kept me going. You know, throughout all my time of feeling alone, through childhood, through teenage years, even sometimes when I've been an adult, God is the one that's always been there. He's been the constant. He's been the consistent one. And there's people in your life that will come and go, and there's people in your life that might stay a bit more permanently. But God has been the one consistent being, and the one consistent friend, and the one consistent person that has always been there for me. You know, when I was growing up, one of the things that really connected with me was the Psalms, because there's a psalm for everything. Psalm 139 for me really connected with me, because it talks about how God sees us in the womb before we're even born. So I knew that I was planned and that I had a purpose in life because God made me. And actually, he loves me enough that he would see me even before I'd been formed, that he knew my name before I'd even been formed. And that's the thing that we need to remember, because what loneliness can strip away is it can strip away our value, and it can strip away our meaning. And one of the things we need to remember is that God loves us and he cares for us, even if it doesn't feel like it at that moment in time. He really does, and he's got immense value in you. You know, I've been bought at a price. I've been bought at the blood of Jesus. And it doesn't matter who you are, what your background is. God places immense value in all of us, and he has a plan and a purpose for us. And for me, connecting to God is one of the ways that actually it's really helped me through loneliness, because I've known that even when I've been going through tough times and I've been going through loneliness, there's always been one person that's been there, and that's God. And I've known that I've had that purpose, and I've known that I've had that love. The second thing is actually that's helped me is looking at the feelings that loneliness creates and recognizing them, because sometimes it's really easy to go through the motions and feel feelings, not really recognize them, and to bottle them up and just to hide them away and go, you know what, if I feel this way, but if I pretend I don't, then I won't. And sometimes that's just not the healthiest thing. So one of the things that I like to do, and it's going to sound super silly, but I love doing it, is I like to take my hand and I like to rub my belly, because what you're doing is you're self-soothing, and I like just to take a few minutes, and then sometimes I might recognise the feelings that are coming up. So I might notice my breathing, and I might slow down my breathing, and I might recognise the feelings that loneliness is bringing to me, and I'll recognise them, and I'll say, hey, I see you. And then what I'll do, as I said before, the first point is I'll take them before God, and I'll go, hey God, I'm feeling this way. What are your opinions? What are your thoughts on it? And oftentimes what I'll get back is the affirmation from God. He goes, you're feeling that way, but you know what? That doesn't change how I feel about you. I still love you, and I still care for you. The third thing that has really helped me, and especially during this time period, has been reaching out to people. Reaching out to people that have been really struggling, and I know that they've been struggling for whatever reason. For example, we've got some friends that live on their own, and this is a really tough, challenging time for them. So we've been reaching out to them through Zoom to play board games with them, just to so they can have some connection during this time. One of the things and one of the lies about loneliness is we think that we're alone, obviously, but you're not alone in your loneliness. Other people will feel the same way. And if you start reaching out, you'll find that people feel the same way. And actually, they really appreciate that. And one of the ways that I've been really blessed over this time period is some of our friends have sent us cards, and that's meant the world to us. And I'm sure they've sent the cards because they might be struggling with the same feelings. So reaching out to people through those methods can be a really fantastic way of dealing with it. You know, writing out a card and sending it to somebody that you know might be struggling, whether it's a friend or a relative, somebody that might be elderly, or somebody that might be the same age. It doesn't really matter. Just try and reach out to people, and try and get that connection. It's like seeing the problem and wallowing in it isn't going to help. It isn't going to help you if you just go, I'm lonely, and then you do nothing about it. If you don't want to be lonely, you've got to do something about it, and you've got to go and you've got to reach out. And there's loads of people around you that will be feeling the same way. And if you don't know how, and you're struggling with that, well, if you're youth and you're watching this, we have Zoom calls where you can reach out and you can connect with people, and it'll be fantastic to see you, and I'd love to see you. I'd love to connect with you, because that's one of the ways that I reach out and try and interact with other people to not feel lonely myself, is reaching out and connecting with the youth, because it's fantastic, and it's a fantastic opportunity to chat and be with people. And I love seeing people every time we're on the call together. And the fourth thing that I say helps me is finding things to do and to keep my mind occupied. For example, we're going to start learning how to paint. I'm not very particularly artistic, and it probably won't go very well, but it's a potentially new skill, and it's a lot of fun that I can have by creating a mess. And there might be stuff that you can do at home. It might be a project, there might be some gardening, there might be something that you can do in the house. There might be exercise that you could get into. There's loads and loads of stuff that you can try. There might be that project that you've been putting off for a long time. It might be musical. I don't know. Think through what you're good at. Think through what gifts and talents. Think through what you like and do them. And find ways to comfort yourself. You know, if you've got pets and you love your pets, you know, you can probably hear the gerbils in the background, you know. So we have fun looking after the gerbils, and that's keeping our mind occupied. If you've got dogs, if you've got cats, guinea pigs, hamsters, fish, you name it, get involved with them. If you've got family members, get involved with them. See if there's something that a family member, maybe a parent, or grandparent, or guardian can teach you. See if there's a skill that they can teach you. And obviously take time out for yourself. Oftentimes during this time period, we're just stressing. Find stuff to do that comforts you, whether that's playing video games, whether that's watching TV, listening to music, playing music, learning to sew, learning to do something. Just find something. Just find something to keep your mind and brain occupied. And sometimes those things might offer as distractions, which can be helpful. And the final thing that I like to do is, it links back to the first thing and second thing, which is to pray. And I love connecting with God, and it really, really helps me. And I love praying. I absolutely adore it. It gives me time to think through what I'm feeling and offer it to God. And there's loads of different ways of praying. And if you're not sure on how to pray, I did a video last week about ways that you can start potentially, and I'll put the link in the description. But prayer is between you and God. You don't have to be perfect, and you can take however you're feeling, whether you're feeling alone or whether you're feeling good, and you can take that to him. He's a big God, and he can take it. Most of the Psalms are David crying out to God and him feeling alone. And I would like to read a psalm to you. So let me just quickly find it, because I have put my phone down somewhere and I'm not sure where it is. So I'm going to read it off to you off my laptop instead. But it's just a reminder, these psalms are brilliant. There's loads of them, and there's loads of other Bible characters that felt alone. So I'm going to read this. I lift up my eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. He will not let your foot slip. He who watches over you will not slumber. Indeed, he who watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord watches over you. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun will not harm you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all harm. He will watch over your life. The Lord will watch over your coming and going, both now and forevermore. And that's from Psalm 121. And someone from church called Sharon shared that with me the other day, and with some of the youth, and I thought it was an epic psalm, and I really loved it, and it really helped me, and I hope it helps some of you. And I just want to remind you as well that we worship a God that knows what it's to be alone. And I said this in previous videos, in my Easter video. Jesus, who we follow, was God, and he made himself man, and he understands what it is to be alone. The night before he died, he was alone praying. When he died, what he said on the cross was, my God, why have you forsaken from me? Which basically translates to, God, what am I doing here on my own? You've left me. I'm here on my own. And all his friends scattered, and he died alone on the cross. And that's sad. But it means he understands what it's like to be you right now. He understands what it is to be alone. And the wonderful thing is that cross, although it sounds sad, is also magnificent, because it represents victory for all of us. And ultimately, we can take these feelings to God, and we can know that one day we're not going to feel like that anymore, because we have a God that loves us and understands us. But that's about it for the video for today. I hope that it helps some of you. Keep in contact with us. If it hasn't helped you, I'm sorry. I'll try and find another way of explaining or helping if there's any way that we can. And just keep reaching out for those around you. There's loads of people around you that probably, if you're watching this and you're not feeling alone, reach out for a person, because there's probably people out there that feel alone. Just reach out for people and reach out for the community around us. Okay. God loves you. I love you. Can't wait to see you all in person again. Goodbye.